Hello and welcome to another beginner's piano lesson here at LearnPianoLive.com. This is a beginner's lesson, so the assumption is you know nothing about piano. You don't know the letters, you don't know how to read music, you don't know any chords. If that's you, you're in the right place. We're starting at the very basics. So really the keys to this lesson is to ask a whole lot of questions. This is you and me, so you got to ask whatever questions you have so that I, as your teacher, can help you out and know what you need. Now, if you are an absolute beginner, you might want to check out the Absolute Beginners Lesson Pack in the video store, because that'll kind of walk you through some of the very basics that most beginning piano students have. It's free. Just go check it out in the video store. And there's a couple other things too that I want to talk to you about before this countdown clock hits 0. All right, first and most important, ask a lot of questions. The way that you're going to do that is there's a couple different ways. You can jump in the chat room and talk with the other students who are logged in at the same time. I'll be watching the chat room too. You can ask your questions there. Or if it's a question that's just for me, a question about the lesson, especially if you know it's one that's going to fit best at the question and answer time at the end, then you can just put your name and your question in the box below this video, click submit, and then I will get that. Now, if you're already in the archives, if you're watching this not live, but you're watching this in the archives, then make sure at the end of the lesson you click on the survey button. You don't have to fill out the entire survey. If you want to, I mean, I'd love your feedback, but really the best part of that is that you can put your question in there, and then when you click submit, then I will get all of your questions. I'll make sure that you get them answered, whether you're in the archives or you're live. Right next to this video, there should be a PDF button and an MP3 button. Now, you don't really need those till after the lesson because I'm going to be showing you on screen the PDF and showing you how to use it. And I'll play the MP3 during the lesson too, so you know at the end of the lesson how you're going to use that. Some people, though, like to print out the PDF ahead of time, so as I'm making notes on my version, they can make the same notes on their version, but it works either way. All right, this is perhaps the most important part. You need to leave the lesson when you feel like you're sufficiently challenged. So, I'm teaching these lessons, 12 to 15 lessons a month. Normally in traditional lessons, you're getting like a lesson every other week or so. So this is just way too much for you to take in. So, the goal is for you to get some little nugget of something that you can really practice on, really work on. Once you feel like you have that, then you really don't need anything else from me. Go practice. That's where this stuff is really gonna happen. You're not going to get through this lesson and be able to play something really well. You're going to get through this lesson and have the information that you need to practice more effectively. That's really the goal here. So don't feel bad about taking off early. If you feel like halfway through the lesson you got as much as you can take in at that time, then go practice that thing, and then come back whenever you've got that thing down, or you're bored with it, or you just want to check out the next topic. Don't forget also that you've got the archives too. So if you want to see one little thing, just repeat it over and over and over. Just give me, hopefully within 24 hours after the lesson, this thing will be up in the archive, so you can just go back and watch it over and over and over and over and just get that little segment down. All right, so to be totally honest with you, today is my least favorite topic. Out of the 8 sectors of musicianship that are out there, I'd rather focus on any of them than literacy. But that's what we're doing, because literacy, as it turns out, is extremely important. So I have found a place in my heart to love this topic, and today I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit more about how you can become more literate, so you can have someone just put sheet music down in front of you, say ready, set, play, and you'll be able to read that with greater and greater accuracy. I'm ready. I'm ready. Are you ready? Let's go. It's not that bad. That guy at the beginning of the video exaggerates. This is not a terrible subject. So this is just going to be, we're going to go from like I said, the very basics on how to read and write music. So we're going to talk not much about rhythms today, but mostly about how to transcribe a song that you already know how to play. One note of it. So this would be a song, something, well, let's actually do some, oh, really? Okay, that's awesome. Hang on. There we go. And we should, with any luck, there we go. Everybody's back now. Welcome back. everyone's not back. All right. How about that? There we go. There's a keyboard. Cool. So this would be a song that you already know, one note at a time. Something like... And if you're thinking, well, I don't know how to play a song yet, then that's a problem. So this is just like you go to any YouTube tutorial and learn any simple little nursery rhyme or song. Most of you, even the students who show up and they're like, I don't know how to play anything, like treat me like an absolute beginner. Most of you still like have something left over from a long time ago that you learned a long time ago, and you know how to play it. But you're just embarrassed that that's the only song you know. So that's perfect. Use that song for today. So I'm going to use this song. And of course, if you are in the archives, you can just rewind that and learn that song right now. There's your YouTube tutorial. I just showed you how to play that song. So the question is, how would that look on sheet music? Before we get there. So reading, writing, music, very similar to reading and writing, whatever language it is you're speaking. I guess that's English because these aren't translated into anything else. So when you're learning, learning to read, one of the things that really helps you to read a lot is writing a lot. And the same exact thing is going to be true in music. If you want to be able to read really fast, then take songs you already know how to play and then try writing those out, and that will help you in your reading skills a whole lot. So reading and writing, both intertwined. So today we're going to talk about writing, which is going to help your reading skills. Cool. So the very first note that we have in this song that we're playing is a C. So C on the treble clef, this is a middle C. Middle because it's in the middle between the treble clef and the bass clef, not because it's in the middle of the piano, because it's not in the middle of the piano. It's slightly to the left of the middle of the piano. So we would have middle C, and that note is right here. Now, normally we wouldn't start on this extra ledger line down here, except that it's probably like the most common, maybe the most important note when we're reading music. So, not the most important note when we're reading music. It's the most common note for teachers to start with, which doesn't usually mean that I start there. But I am today. So this is middle C right here. It's on a ledger line, meaning just its own fake little line down here. Now, real quick here, before we get to the rest of the song, let's pretend that we had a note that was right here. So this is on a space, meaning that it does not have a line cutting through the middle of it like this one does. The line that's cutting through the middle of that C is super duper obvious. This other note on a space right next to it would be that note right there. It'd be a D. And again, this is not, if you are already in Clopple Academy, I'd say if you've completed level 1, a lot of this stuff is going to be a review because it's a beginner's lesson on reading music, and that's kind of one of the major things that we focus on in Clopple Academy. So if you're feeling like, wow, I already know this stuff, when's you going to get to the tough stuff? I'm not. This is all going to be simple stuff. So we've got a C and a D on the page right now because it's a line and the space that's right next to it. Now, let's pretend that we have a note right here. That note would be on a line because it is, it's got that line cutting right through the middle of it, that one right there, right? So the line that's already there is cutting through the middle of it. So we've gone from a line to a space to a line, all right next to each other. Let's now pretend that the note that we have right there, oops, I deleted my C. That's sad. There we go. We have that one and we have that one, but we don't have the one in between. So we've got a note that's on a line and another note that's on a line. We would go straight from that C to that E. Okay, so then, if I give you some like random note, like that one, oh man, it's a long way away. It's like probably one of these or something like that, somewhere in that range, because I was there before. Something. So, a couple different ways to do this. 3 different ways I'm going to show you right now. One is we can just count the number of notches between this note and the next note. So we could go 1, that's 1. That's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5. That would be 6 notches up if we're counting lines and spaces. So we go up from here, we'd go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we would land on that note right there. And whatever that one is, I mean, it happens to be a D, but that's not important. What's important is playing the right note, right? Whatever that thing is, we want to play that thing. And so that is a D. So we just play that note. So we'd go from that one to that one and then up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That one. Cool. That sounds terrible. That is not our song from today. We'll get to it. So that's one way to get to it, is just count up the lines and spaces. It's kind of slowish, especially when you have like 6 notes in between. So what I would recommend is something like this. You're on a line here. We've got this note over here that we want to get to, right? If we went from this line to this line, which we're not doing, but if we were going to that one, it would just be that note over there. I would call that a skip from a line to a line. By the way, also works from a space to a space. If this is already making sense for you, then if you go from that note to that note, it's also going to be skipping over one note because you're skipping over a line there. Okay, cool. And I am now outside of my middle C. There we go. So from that one to that one would be one skip up. If we were going to that line, that would be 2 skips up. We'd be going from here, not to there, but to there. So instead of going from that line, instead of going to that line, we'd go to that line. We can probably start to see that if I'm on a line right here, all of these ones are lines because it's just every other note, and all the rest of them are spaces. Those are all spaces. Those are all lines. Those are all spaces. Those are all lines. So I can just go from E, and I can skip up 1, 2, 3 times, a triple skip up, and I'll be there. 1, 2, 3, bam. It's that note right there. I didn't have to count all the spaces. I had to count 3 skips. But if I'm going from a line to a line, I know there's going to be some kind of skip away. So hopefully that made sense. If not, let me know in the question. So then we have this one. There we go. We'll get rid of that. So then our other way is to actually learn the letters, which is the thing that like all the teachers are going to start with, is just like, what are the names of the letters on the lines and spaces of the treble clef? I can't tell you how much this activity kills my soul. Let's go. Here we go. So this one right here is an E, and this one here is a G, and this one here is a B, and this one here is a D, and this one here is an F. And so you could just remember EGBDF. EGBDF. Just remember EGBDF. If you're having a hard time remembering that, you could remember every good boy does fine. Or, since I guess later on, after they made that up in the, 50s or 60s, I'm making these dates up, they decided, well, that excludes girls. So you could do like, every good band deserves fudge. And that will help you remember the names of the lines and the spaces. Of the lines, I guess. Or you can make up some other thing. Okay. And then you just remember EGBDF. And then you can just count up. If you've got a note here, bam. Now, again, this work, I'm pretending like I'm all put out about this. I really do hate it. But this totally works for like tons of people, and it's the way that piano is taught at like 95% of the teachers you go to. So apparently, I'm the only one out here, but I'll show you why this gets complicated in a second for me in my weird brain. So that one right there could be a D, because we just go, every good band deserves. It's a D. EGBDF. EGBDF. Cool. Well, like I said, that only deals with the lines. So now we have the spaces to worry about. What if I have a note right there? Well, you could go, every good band deserves. It's one up from deserves. One up from a D is an E. Man, this is just making my brain really tired. So instead, you just remember a different thing for the spaces. So they are F and A and C and E. There we go. F-A-C-E. Hey, that spells face. We don't even have to make up a stupid saying for this one. It's just face. So F-A-C-E, that top one is an E, but face has nothing to do with the spaces of the treble clef. This is completely random. And in my mind, like a good acronym will like help you with whatever it is that you're trying to remember. And this is just a word. Face, completely unrelated to what we're doing, the spaces of the treble clef. Okay, so that's the first reason I hate it, is because it's stupid. And the second reason that I hate it is because it's impossible to remember, too, because we haven't even dealt with the bass clef, which we're not going to do today. But the bass clef has its own stupid stuff. All cows eat grass. All cars eat gas. Good bands deserve fudge always. Good boys do fine always. Which, in case you didn't recognize, that's the exact same ones they used for the treble clef. They just reused them for the bass clef because the bass clef has its own lines and spaces, but like all the words are in different orders. So now we come back to the this note. All right, cool. So I memorized them all. I passed the test. I filled it out on my Theory 1B book. And so now I know all the lines and the spaces, and I get this note right here. And then my brain goes, okay, face. No, wait, it's something about cows. No, wait, it's not the cows one. It's something about fudge. Good bands. People like fudge in bands. I don't remember what it is. My brain just can't hold these stupid sayings that have nothing to do. At least the one has bands in it, except that we reuse that in the bass clef. So if you're a piano teacher and you've got a better idea, or you can see why this isn't working in my brain, and you can help me understand so I can teach like every other teacher teaches and just go through these acronyms and have them make sense to my students, then cool. Otherwise, I think that they're dumb and pointless, and if I were you, I would just pick a note like this one, probably somewhere in the middle, and just remember what that one note is. Just know that if you're in the treble clef, for example, this middle line is B. There you go. Done. So if you got to go down below that, you should know middle C. You really actually should have that one memorized because that one's just really super common. And then just know B. Just know that one right there. That one's a B. So if I got to go from there, if I got this note right here, I'm going to skip +1 away from B. So I'm going to go from B, skip +1. I'm on an E. And it doesn't matter that I'm on an E. Like once I'm playing the note, what letter it is that's old news. It doesn't matter anymore because the point of reading this stuff is to read the music and play the music. In the same way, I guess, if you're reading a book, like you're reading A's and B's and C's and D's and E's, but you're not like labeling them in your head. You're just saying the word and then moving on. Because once you make the sound of the letter, then labeling the letter doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you call that one an F, right? So once you were playing this note, that note's over. Move on to the next one. It's time to do the next one. You don't have to go, and that one is an E. Unless, I don't know, maybe that's helpful for some people. But seems like a lot of students will like play the right note, and then they feel compelled to like tell me what the letter of that note was. So maybe that's a thing. Maybe that's helpful for people, and you need to do that. But once you play the note, cool. Move on to the next one. So if we've got these 3 notes here, cool. We've got these 3 notes here. I'm going to start out on a C. You got to memorize those. And that's really the whole point of knowing the names of the letters on the lines and spaces, because you can read intervallically, reading by interval, distance between the notes. Sorry. You can read by just telling the distance between the notes, but you do have to start somewhere. So you got to know what a note is, and then you can go from there. So I'm going from this line to this line, which tells me I'm just skipping up 1. And then I've got a single, double, triple skip from there. 1, 2, 3. So it's that note. So I've got that one, that one, that one. And then from that line to that line is just 1 skip up. And then from that note to that note would be, from that line to that line would be a skip down. But then I'm going 1 more past that. So I'm going to land on that note right there. Cool. And if I want to double check myself, I have memorized this middle line is a B. And that's stupid because there's no reason for that. I've just memorized it. But at least I didn't do like a bunch of other stupid memorizing that was unnecessary also. I just did one necessary memorizing thing. Cool. So then if I want to double check this note, I landed on a C here. And I know that this note, this line right here would be a B, and I'm 1 up from there. So indeed, I did land on the right spot. I probably did everything right all along the way. I've got this note, this note, this note, this note, this note. Cool. And I didn't have to do anything with fudge or cows or cars or any of that. Okay. Which makes me happy. Again, maybe that all works for you. Cool. Then ignore all of this and just consider me crazy. You won't be the first. But let's go back to our song. We were trying to do a song here because the whole point was if you know how to play a song, trying to write it out will help you to read notes in the future. So all of that said, let's move on. So we want to go from that note to that note. hang on. Before we get there, we've got 2 of these. That's how the song goes. So another one of the same exact note. Cool, I can do that. No problem, exact same line. Okay, so then we've got this one. So now again, I'm gonna look at the distance here. I'm gonna go, well, if that's a line, that's a line, and that's a line, that was 2 lines up. I should be on a line, but not the next line over the next line after that. So I will go from 2 C's to not that one, but that one. And I've got 2 of those. Cool, so I've got C and a C and a G and a G. The next thing I do is move over 1 when I play the song. Right? So we've got that one right there. That's just 1 up. I was on a line. I'm going to a space, 1 space over. And then same exact note. Make sure that when you write your notes also, like it's pretty common to see this stuff where you like have a note that's like that. It's like, well, I can't really tell if that's on a line or a space. It looks mostly on a space, but it's got a line cutting through kind of the middle-ish of it. So try to make sure that if you're trying to put a note on a line, that line cuts right through the actual middle of the note. And if you're putting a note on a space, that if it touches the line, it's just on the very, very edges, but it's very clearly on the space. So again, that one right there is even kind of questionable. I don't like that line touches it that much. But doing it on a tablet is harder than with an actual pencil. So that would be a little bit better right there. We've just got that note squarely on the space. Okay, cool. So just be careful of that. Otherwise, when you come back, if you write funky notes, you won't be able to tell what you wrote. And neither will anybody else. Okay, so we've got all of those notes. You can see all those. Fantastic. So we've got that. Then I'm going to go down 1 note. If I'm on a space, that means I'm going to land on a line. And then we would go down 1 more from there. And then the same exact note. And then down 1 from there, which would land me on a line. And the same exact note again. And then down 1 more, which is going to put me on this space. 1 more of those. And then would land right there. Which, again, at the very end of the line, we just want to double check and make sure we followed all the directions correctly. I am on a C, and that last note that I wrote in there is indeed a C. So my ups and downs and lines and spaces and all that stuff actually worked out. It's all the correct thing. I did it right. Those are all of my notes for this song. Cool. Now, to count the pulses, the rhythms of this stuff. This is where things get a little bit tricky. By the way, there is no MP3 today because, again, you're playing, I don't know what song you're doing. You're doing some song that you already know how to play, and just trying to put the distances in correctly. We'll talk about sharps and flats and accidentals and all that stuff tomorrow. But for today, we've got all of this, and this sheet is all blank here, so you can print out multiple copies of this and have some staff paper whenever you need to write out stuff here. So it's all blank on purpose, and we're only using a small segment of it for this lesson. So then we've got the numbers of pulses for each of these. Now, the song that I picked is mostly just 1 pulse per note. So we'd go note, 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 no note. We got a pulse where there's nothing. That one got 2 pulses. So where was that note? We got that, and then 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 that. This guy right here, that one is getting 2 pulses. So the notes that get 2 pulses are called half notes. Again, if you're in Clapple Academy, you're already getting all of this stuff. But this is a half note. It's not filled in, and it's worth 2. All the others are worth 1, and they are filled in, and they get 1 like that. It doesn't matter where you put the stem on these guys. For right now, we'll just do this. If you've got a B, then your stem can either go up or down. It doesn't matter. If you got a really high note, like something way up here, then your stem should come down off the left side. If you got a really low note like this, then your stem should come up off of the right side. Otherwise, you've got like, if you got some super low note here, and you've got a stem that comes down off of that, like you're going to be running into that. That looks funky. That note is way off the staff. Or vice versa, if you had, you know, some note that was like up here, and you had your stem going up, like that looks super weird too. So anyway, if the notes are high up, then have your stems come down. If the notes are low, have the stems come up. Cool. So the stems don't matter as much as whether they're hollow or not. If it's hollow, it gets 2 beats. If it's not hollow, it gets 1. So I'm going to put stems on all these guys here. Stem on that one, stem on that one. Ooh, they should probably connect. Stem on that one, that one, that one, that one. This one here is a half note, and I cannot erase in the middle of it. Ah, poopers. Okay, there we go. I'll just recreate those notes. There we go. So now that one's hollow. There we go. So that one's hollow now, and so now I can put the stem on that one. That one's a half note. So now this one gets 2 pulses, while all the others are getting just 1. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. Keep going. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. This one also gets 2 beats right there. So we should make that one a half note as well, and then put stems on all the rest of them. Bam. We have now transcribed. Meaning across. And scribe meaning right. We've written across. I don't know if that's true. Sounds right. Sounds smart. Unless I'm wrong, and then someone's going to tell me why it doesn't sound smart at all. Sounds dumb. So then we've transcribed all of the notes for this song that we need into actual sheet music, and that's the one. That's what we were trying to do today, is take some song and using intervals, using the distance between the 2 notes that we play, the distance between each note, put that on the lines and spaces of the treble clef. We haven't done the bass clef, and we haven't done the sharps and flats, and that is all of the questions. Let me check. Yep. Oh, let me check there real quick. If you have any questions, now's your last opportunity to throw them in, and it looks like we've covered everything. So yeah, I'm not doing sharps and flats or keys. Sorry. That's tomorrow. We'll be doing that in the intermediate lesson, and we'll be throwing in the bass clef. And yeah, looks like I think I've covered everybody's stuff, except for the stuff that I've said I'm not going to cover. So since that's the case, I guess I will just plan on seeing you tomorrow, unless my wife is having a baby, in which case I will send out an email and let everybody know, because she is due any day now, due on the 8th. So anytime between now, I guess, and like the 15th-ish or so, I'll just be gone all of a sudden. But hopefully not for too long, maybe a week, week and a half, and then we'll be back to normal. And we've also got all these YouTube workshops that I'm working with Kendra on, and she is adorable, and she has actually got a pretty successful YouTube channel as well. So she's going to be helping me out with those, mostly to help me not sound so droning and boring, as I can do when I get worked up about this stuff. Just go on and on about stuff that doesn't matter to a 13-year-old. So, and since some of you are 13-year-olds and you've got questions about your YouTube channels and how to put all that stuff together, then she's going to help me be more relatable or something. Awkward silence. So, I'll see you either at the YouTube workshops or tomorrow or in about 10 days. Whenever it is, you can always email me, jamin@learnpianolive.com, and see you next time. Good luck.